Hey peeps, hey peeps, hey peeps. Look, there's more. We have to talk about the Masons. Okay. Are we getting deep? The Masons, Gobekli Tepe, the Egyptian Sphinx, which is looking like a type of Bhairava, or a Satanaya, Satan. And of course the link to Gobekli Tepe. And of course there's always been this speculation that the Sphinx is pre-dynastic, goes back to 10,000 BC and all this. And people were saying this even before, I believe, even before Gobekli Tepe was discovered, because they were saying this in the 80s and no one knew about Gobekli Tepe in the 80s. People were only talking about Çatalhöyük, 6000 BC, that's it. Even in archaeology in 2004, 5, when I was doing archaeology subjects, they didn't teach us Gobekli Tepe. Çatalhöyük is the origin of Western civilization, 6000 BC in Turkey. So here is a link between the Sphinx, between that dog we saw, that Satan dog, the hellhound, Kerberos, and of course Gobekli Tepe. So can we push, and looking at the pre-dynastic art of Egypt resembling Gobekli Tepe, can we push the date of the Sphinx back over? So firstly, this is that dog thing that we saw. Bhairava, a fierce, powerful deity in Hinduism, often depicted as a terrifying manifestation of Shiva, who holds a staff to punish sinners and whose vehicle is a dog, because Rover, he roves around on the dog. He is a force of destruction and transformation, representing the unyielding force of time and cosmic order, and is also seen as a protector against, this is the Sphinx, against evil forces. Bhairava is particularly venerated in tantric traditions and in the sacred city of Kashi. Varanasi. That's a place where you can go to heaven by staying on earth, where he serves as the chief guardian. Woo! The guardian. And who does the guarding? The dogs guard. Nothing else guards. The dogs guard. Manifestations of Shiva. It's a wrathful time, destruction, and wisdom. So it's time. The time is associated with the pyramids, the time proverb. Time fears the pyramids in an old Arab proverb. Fierce appearance, a scowl, bulging eyes, flaming hair. You know, the Sphinx was painted red at one time. I believe in the New Kingdom. Robert Temple said, it was awfully tacky, but they painted it red. They painted him red. Just like these Hindu gods, they sometimes paint them red. Anyway, Cosmic Guardian, Tantric traditions. Now, we've already said that the Sphinx is also the Norse god Fenrir. He's waiting to pounce for the end of the universe, to recreate the universe. That too, because they come down to us from different traditions from a long time ago. And over time, the traditions diverge. Tantric traditions, protection of devotees. Let's continue. So there's Bhairava. So firstly, I have to say, okay, look, the Mason connection. The Masons have always been the builders. Bhairava has a sacred number. His number is 33. Now, I deduce this as being half a planet, a hemisphere, that is the pyramid, because the whole planet was supposed to be 666. So 33, and I'll publish this in a book. I want to leave some kind of legacy behind, so I have to write these into books. I'm sorry, I'm slow. But this shows the number 33, I believe, is indicative of the representation of a hemisphere, be it a pyramid or a mound. And therefore, the god, one of the gods of that hemisphere. Now, I have suggested you can forget about Sanskrit for interpreting what these gods mean. Sanskrit seems to have come later. The gods are Slav words. That's pure Slav. And I'll get even deeper into that in this video. Because what we have here, I was thinking in my head about this word Bhairava, and I've suggested God, and then the Rava, but then I don't account for the I. There's two vowels here. So it's more like piec in Polish, pies. P-I-E-C. There's two vowels together in that word, and that word means dog. So it is the dog that roves around, the roving dog. The ravenous dog. Ravenous is another word in English. The ravenous dog. Bhairava. Bhairava. And that basically means, so Kawi Bhairava is, in Polish, would be the dog that roves around the entire universe. You can completely forget about using Sanskrit to interpret these gods. It doesn't make any sense at all. And think about where these gods come from. Gobekli Tepe, before India. Gobekli Tepe is older than what we see in India. They brought this into India. It did not come out of India. It went into India from somewhere else. The dog that roves around the whole universe, and that is what they say it is. And furthermore, see, they're saying it means terribly fearsome for. You see, that's the proof that Sanskrit can't be used to interpret what it means. It literally, it's Slav, absolutely 100% Slav, and my fellow Slavs will 100% agree with me on this one. They do in the comments. They agree with me. So that's interesting. So we see some foundation of masonry possibly going back to Gobekli Tepe, and we see the dog that controls or roves around the whole universe. This is the Sphinx. This is why there's a massive Sphinx that was painted red at the pyramids. Let's continue. So there's more, and this is what I've always wondered. If the Sphinx is a dog, how come... Well, what about the mythological Sphinx and the Egyptology? No one ever talks about the mythological Sphinx. And it seems to be even more in the Greek mythology than it is in the Egyptian mythology, because Greece is closer to Gobekli Tepe than Egypt is. So we have this mythical creature with the head of a human, the body of a lion, or maybe not a lion, maybe a dog, and the wings of an eagle, and his tail could be a serpent. Wings of a bird. Challenges those who encounter her a riddle and then kills and eats them when they fail to solve the riddle. The riddle of the Sphinx. Oedipus. Egyptian mythology. Androsphinx, the man-sphinx. A benevolent representation of strength and ferocity. Do you see, it's actually a similar role to Bhairava because it's about that ferocious strength manifestation of Shiva. It's a Kali version of Shiva. It's this ferocious, avenging force controlling nature. And we're seeing that in the Sphinx. We're seeing that at Gobekli Tepe in that pillar number 20. Guardians, statues, flanking temples. Like Joachim and Boaz. Boaz is God. Bug. Just amazing. Etymology. Can be whatever you want it to be, basically. The squeezer. The strangler, basically. Well, that's kind of what it is. Pinks is similar to Pietz, the dog. Problem with the Greek words is and I pointed this out before, I've noticed they've changed them. They've tried to translate and keep the original sound. They've tried to do both. So they've tried to, when they take a foreign god or whatever, when they talk about, for example, the Atlantean gods, they put these gods into their own language so you understand them in their language. But they've tried to select a god in their language that most sounds like the original. So this can be a problem. You've got to think about this when you're looking at the Greek names of gods. Because they wanted their people to understand what was being talked about. So then we have this 10,000, we have Gobekli Tepe ages. So now I'm thinking, well, hang on a sec, there's something to this. Let's continue. I ask, do sphinxes have snakes? Because is it like Bhairava? Is it like Pillar 20 of Satan? Yes. Some sphinxes have snakes, particularly in Greek mythology, where they are portrayed with a lion's body, a woman's face, and a serpent's tail. So we have something, it's a Kerberos. Kerberos is similar to curse as well. While the Great Sphinx of Giza has a lion's body and a human... Well, this is debatable. It does not have a snake's tail. However, an uraeus, a symbol of royalty depicted as a rearing cobra, is often part of royal crowns and statues in ancient... It does seem to have the uraeus on its head, sort of. Might have been worn off a bit. So it's a Kerberos. So it's that thing in Gobekli Tepe. It's Satanaya. Is it Satanaya? It is facing it is facing the yeah, I just had to check. Yes, the Sphinx does face the sunrise. And so does that. So that's a Caucasus god. And there's hardly any information in here on it. So that's the end of the article already. Unfortunately. It's a female, and we know that the Sphinx's face is a female. The woman in myth, Satanaya cycle. Let's see. Right. Satana. You think that's not Satan? North Caucasus. The mother of the Nats, a fertility figure who is often authority over her children, Satanaya, is often cast in the light of a wise woman or matriarch, which mirrors... So straight away we see the origin of the witch hunting. As soon as we get rid of this god, the representations of Satan is what? The witch. Which mirrors the relative freedom of women in North Caucasian societies. Generally, Satanaya can be compared to the Greek Tamatar. That's also a North African god, Tamatus. In Ossetian tradition, she is the daughter of Ouastildiji, St. George. That's because it's the snake, and St. George is associated with the snake. The Chechen-Ingush version is somewhat different. It's Sila. Sila. Remember we were talking about Sila? Sila gave us everything. Salt. The seal. Chemistry. The wax seal. Chemistry is named after gum, a Germanic word, gumistry. You have a sale at Silbury Hill. This religion was in Britain. You ever wondered why people are worried about Satan when Satan's barely in the Bible? It's because it was also in Western tradition. And what did Satanaya do? Why the sun pauses at the horizon at sunset? She makes a bet she can weave a coat in one day and has to ask the sun for a favour to slow down that she may finish her task before the day is through. Seems to be regulating the speed of the sun or the rotation of the earth somehow, or controlling the rotation of the earth. And then we have the Sphinx staring at the sunset as if the Sphinx is in front of the pyramids. It's leading the pyramids, looking into that sunset. Pyramids are more like Januses, and this is more like the Satan. And that's why we don't understand the pyramids through mythology, because the mythology is so old. The pyramids are so old. In Lady Satanaya's blossom, Satanaya finds a beautiful flower by the river Kuban and plucks it and replants it in front of her house. The next day she is said to discover that it has withered. Once again she goes and plucks another of the same flower, only to see the same result the following morning. The third time she replants the flower in front of the house, it rains and the flower is invigorated and continues to live on until the next day. Satanaya realizes the importance of water to life. It's almost like a Sphinxian riddle, isn't it? It's one of these parables. Ooh. And that's it. I don't have much. Last time it said something different. It said something about her running with the sunrise or something like that. So we don't know much. All right, peeps. I hope you've enjoyed this further insight. What have we learned? It's looking like the Sphinx is Satan. Starts with an S. The Sphinx contains the letters S, N. The Greeks kept some of the original. But there are other words for this, the Kerberos as well. And, of course, Bhairava, Pirova, the roving dog, the dog Sphinx. Yeah, it looks like, so the title of this might be Gobekli Tepe Masonic Origins in the Satan god, Masonic and Sphinx origins in Satan. I'm going to write that down. Gobecki, Tepe, and Masonic and Sphinx origins in Satan. In Satan. Oh, great! What a title. That'll get an extra 30 clicks, and there'll be people coming on there saying, "Charles, I'm a professional Satanist for 30 years, and I tell you are wrong, and you're a fool as well." So all of my paragraphs are for naught because Charles is going to delete this anyway. Yeah, that's what people do. Anyway, cheers.